really big thank you to Marlene for an astonishingly wonderful reading. Wow. Also a couple of other thank yous. Linda Crossfield, who's the publisher at of Nosen Books, who's produced this wonderful little chapbook for me. Clichés is spelled that way because that's the phonetics from the dictionary. I was trying to avoid the word cliché on the cover because it's a cliche, so I put clichés anyhow. So this is what happened is one summer I started this exercise trying to trick myself into writing, and I started playing around with clichés, and I found a website that was listing all the clichés in the English language, and I swear there are literally thousands of them, and some of them are familiar and some of them not. Shakespeare is blamed for a lot of them. I tried to avoid his clichés. So I started the book with a prototype based on a cliché. It takes one to know one. Life is not always what it seems. Ergo, never look a gift horse in the mouth or take a tiger by the tail. You have to read between the lines and not get your knickers in a knot. Money, my dears, does not grow on trees, but at the end of the day, when pigs fly, there's plenty of fish in the sea. You ought to think outside the box, but don't hurry. Haste makes waste. Have nerves of steel, bring home the bacon, and whatever you do, don't bite the hand that feeds you. So it's fun, and then it's also serious because some of the clichés hide other things. I'll read a few of these, some of them light and fluffy, some of them less so. An apple doesn't fall far from the tree, nor leaves in autumn without wind. Rust brown shards flutter to earth, lie still in tangles of grass. 5 apples left naked on branches. On the ground, a shriveled few decay, bruised, worm-holed. Deer will come, or pigs, chomp them down as days cool and snow hints it's coming. In the kitchen, a pie, cinnamon scent and cloves, heat from the opened oven washes a face. And then bring home the bacon. It couldn't be a vegetarian's claim about their earnings. Maybe bring home the kale, or bring home the soy milk, or bring home the gluten-free, or bring home the tofu. Oh, that one might work. Has a fine sound to it, a touch of macho righteous, though a bit rubbery, without much taste. And a darker turn. It took my breath away. They tortured me for information, names, used a vacuum pump, my head in a cylinder. They removed air slowly and waited for me to scream. I couldn't. No air for my voice, blood gushed from my lungs. They wanted me alive, let me out. I never knew why and now struggle to breathe every day. Nights are worse, me not sleeping, and I cannot remember what I confessed in my delirium, whom I named collaborator. My throat dry and shallow, panting until dawn, cough blood every morning. That poem struck me quite differently now, thinking about Floyd George and I Cannot Breathe. Amazing how things change. This is a little comment on the politically correct world we live in. The pot calling the kettle black. Advice to the pot. Be careful in politically correct times. Naming by color has unfortunate overtones. The kettle may call itself any color it wants, even claim identity as it chooses, identifiers formerly considered forbidden. The pot may sit on the same stove top as the kettle, but it needs to keep its lid on, no matter how steamed it gets. He's gone to a better place. They wailed at the news of his passing, presumed dead from the evidence, his abandoned car, shoes, clothes on the end of the pier, body never found, his struggles over at last. They seemed secretly glad to be rid of him. He was always difficult. I chose not to disillusion them in their energetic grief. I'd seen him a few days before in an airport boarding a charter flight to Aruba. His companion seemed as happy as he was. They leaned into each other, smiled, touched, the air around them light. I'm assuming Aruba is a better place. All's fair in love and war. It isn't love at 20 paces, weapons unsheathed, or words. You have to get close for hand-to-hand combat, decide between embrace and battle. Confusing how alike they are, combatants and lovers, how they eye each other, the tenderness of death, the hard edges of love, look for an opening and touch. Better late than never. Bitterness, as you well know, leaves a foul taste, dry and acrid. It could be different. You could have come earlier, made it easier, better. To get there last must be your compulsion, brings you pleasure. Last to notice, last to arrive. You pretend it is good enough. Perhaps not showing up would be a better choice. You couldn't, could you? You might be needed, miss something. Better late than never, too. And this is in the form of a fugue. It's never too late to start, too late to try to start. She always said in the sweetest way, it's better late than never, in the sweetest way than never. Too late, he replied in the sweetest way, too late to start, too late to start. Time has gone on without you. It's late too late for you to start. Too late to try, she cried. Too late, he said, too late. I tried, she cried, I tried. Yes, he sighed, you tried, but late, he said, too late. To try, to wait, to start, to try, to wait, too late. A sad romance that one was. This is one of my favorites, and I think it was one of the first ones I did, which took me to the fact that you could take something and make it completely different. 3 sheets to the wind, and if you don't know that cliche, it's supposed to mean you're drunk. This is not about a drunk. 3 sheets to the wind. She washed them twice, once with bleach. Could still see the rust-brown bloodstains as they hung on the clothesline crossing the yard. Snow glistens white in the morning sun. Silver crystals scud in the wind. All 3 sheets, the 2 from the bed, the one she'd wrapped the body in before it stiffened, all 3 frozen in the chill and now snapped like gunshots in the gusts. Cascading dark ice droplets scatter on the snow. Where the sun glare makes shadows in the tracks of the toboggan to the cliff edge, the body gone in the ice and slurry and the river swollen below with a late winter tide on a full moon. Her hands still shaking as she holds a cold cup of tea. It's amazing when you start playing this game with cliches where your mind will go. Nerves of steel. He thought his coolness made him strong, fearless. She thought his heart was frozen, encased in a steel box, ice wires running out through his body. She wondered how frightened he really was to let himself out, let her close. She knew he never would and moved on, left him gasping. He thought he had it made with her, his eyes damp, blinking, lips taut. Money doesn't grow on trees or under them, but worse, trees don't grow on money. Give you enough rope to hang yourself. I had to question their wisdom. He was a troubled kid. They were at the end of their patience, decided to teach him a lesson, kicked him out, told him he was on his own, he'd have to learn. I'm sure they never knew he heard his mother say they were giving him enough rope to hang himself. They meant that he might learn, come to his senses. He didn't hear that. Heard, go, do what you like. We no longer care. Get in enough difficulty in life to discover the best solution is commit suicide. And he used a rope, a real rope. In a note, thanked them for the suggestion, wrote he wouldn't be any more trouble. And this is a little fun to brighten the air here for a moment. If only walls could talk. Remember that saying? The world would be a curious place. Room at odds with one another, conflicts at corners where intimates meet, rigid immobility preventing love, buildings arguing across roads, the streets filled with mute people listening to one wall scold another, concrete's cold tones against the hollow rasp of cinder block, the sheer boldness of glass shouting over wood's elderly hush, a collection of languages honed by shape, material, and manner, edgy jargon, uneven structure, yet oddly enough, complete silence from floors and ceilings. Just a few more. Got up on the wrong side of the bed. Her side. She was gone. Sometime in the night. Took the car as well. Left a note. Had enough. Sorry. I'm done. They found the car, keys under the seat, doors locked, no sign of her, no idea if she's dead or hiding away. Nights on the couch now. This is an interesting one. I'm just going to show you because the shape matters here. The poem's called Light as a Feather. Morning. A beam, delicate tapered edge, almost white. A puff of photons, my vision takes flight, lifts to seek a source. A light pulse beat of downy wings strokes my face. My lids flutter shut, ease into a softer dark. Two more. Plenty of fish in the sea. These days, one hopes the sea will teem with fish, but doubts arise as species disappear, the oceans warm with microplastic and Antarctic ice in the bellies and blood of salmon in our bodies. We pray there be plenty of fish in the sea for generations. And the last one, read between the lines. Think about that for just a second. What a strange idea that is when you just think about it boldly. You have to read between the lines. So I thought about that, and this is what I wrote. There may be in those spaces a glimpse of nothingness. If you look sideways just so at the right moment, what really matters is never there. Even in a poem, lines are wasted, and emptiness holds the ineffable there. Maybe we should circulate blank pages, a few horizontal lines, may be all that is necessary. Thanks everyone for being here and for listening.